Limits are fundamental to calculus, but what exactly are they? Let's take a look at a real world example so we can understand what exactly limits are. Suppose you're in line for your favorite ride and you realize that you're about 14 meters, about 45 feet away in line. Man, you have a long wait, but you keep waiting and the line moves closer. Now you're only 9 meters away. You move even closer. Now you're 4 meters away. Now you're way up at the front of the line, 2 meters away from the actual ride. But then when you're 1 meter away, you realize, wow, there's no way I'm going to be able to get on this ride. 1 meter is as far as you're going to get. The situation that we just looked at is a real world example of what exactly a limit is. Now let's look at it. Let's say that we graphed each of those points. When we started off 14 meters away from the ride. Then we worked our way down, moving closer and closer in the line. And at a certain point, we were only 9 meters away from the ride. We worked our way closer and closer down the line. And then we realized that we were 4 meters away from the ride. Again, the line keeps moving forward. We're getting closer to where we want to be. And then we realize at a certain point, we're only 2 meters away. Of course, we keep trying to get closer and closer to the ride, but at a certain point, we realize that this is as close as we're going to get because the ride is closed. So the closest that we're going to get is 1 meter. So as we approach our value from the left-hand side, we realize that there's a number that limits us. So in this situation, 1 meter would represent the limit. Suppose that we had a situation represented by this graph. Could you determine what the limit is? Well, if we approached down the line, moving closer and closer to where we want to be, we realize that the closest that we're going to get is -1. So even if we were to come from the other direction, from the right-hand side, we realize that as we move down the line, the closest that we're going to get to again is -1. So in this case, the limit as we approach this point is going to be -1. What do you suppose the limit would be in this example as we approach either from the left or from the right? So let's say that we approach from the left-hand side. So from the left, we get closer and closer to our destination, and we realize that the closest that we're going to get is 3. Even if we approach from the other direction, we realize that we're still limited at 3. So in this case, 3 is our limit. Notice that the limit really only makes sense if we approach the same number from the right or from the left. So limit only makes sense if we approach the same value from the left and from the right. So what about this example? What would the limit be in this case? Well, really, it depends on which side we're coming from. If we come from the left side and we're trying to get closer and closer to our destination, we realize that from the left side, we're only going to get to about 1. From the right side, if we approach our point, so we're trying to get here, so as we get closer and closer and closer, moving towards that value, we realize that we're never actually going to get there. In fact, if we keep trying to get closer to that value, we're just going to end up keep going up, 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 further up. So if we approach from the right side, looks like we're going to infinity, but if we approach from the left side, it looks like we're approaching -1. So in this case, we'll say that our limit does not exist. Our limit only exists if, or makes sense, if we're approaching the same number from the left and from the right.